ranked choice voting manufactures a majority by throwing out ballots and redistributing votes. It is bad news and it's unnecessary. In Virginia, our members flooded Governor Glenn Youngkin's office with nearly 800 messages, and the governor responded by vetoing 16 out of 17 of the legislative actions. In Missouri, our members sent over 400 messages to their state senators and helped to pass a resolution that would ban ranked choice voting and ensures that only U.S. citizens can vote in their elections.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Weber, and you're watching Better for America. Folks, there's a whirlwind of activity occurring across the United States, and AMAC is engaged. We are working alongside over 2 million AMAC members across the country in order to save our great nation. There are so many issues of great concern to AMAC members, some of them including the attacks on our First Amendment and free speech, our religious freedoms. Election integrity is at the forefront of everyone's mind these days, and also parental rights, very important. Joining me right now is Andy Mangione. He is the Senior Vice President of AMAC Action, and Andy is here to share with me a number of updates and ways that you can get involved. Andy, thank you so much for being with me today. It's always good to regroup and share with our great listeners exactly what's happening here at AMAC.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's always great to be with you.
You know, Andy, I want to start with something that's on the forefront of all of our AMAC members, and that is election integrity. I was just amazed when I saw Joe Biden's statement that if there's any legislation that comes across his desk that prevents illegals from voting in the presidential election, that he will veto that bill. In other words, he will not allow a bill that would prohibit illegals to vote in our elections to pass. And I thought to myself, why would a president do that? And this is a question that's on the forefront of many of our members' minds. So share with us the great work that you're heading up, that you're doing on the election integrity front, because there's a whirlwind of activity happening there.
You bet there is, Rebecca. And let's start off with the SAVE Act. That's the bill that President Biden is referring to, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, also known as the SAVE Act. This does a couple of different things. It prevents non-citizens from voting by asking when a person registers to vote, they must show documented, and they do this in person, proof of their citizenship. Secondly, it compels states to clean up their voter rolls, to get non-citizens off the voter rolls. And thirdly, it gives people, the American people, the resources they need to hold election officials accountable if they do not follow this law. AMAC members are all in on this bill. We set up our support on behalf of the membership in a support letter to Representative Chip Roy, who's the bill's sponsor when the bill was introduced. Recently, Reb, we just ran a campaign nationally where our members reached out to their member of Congress as constituents, and they sent over 19,000 messages compelling their member of Congress to support the SAVE Act. We're going to put this in front. Hopefully, we'll get this passed through the House. The vote is actually going to take place very, very soon. We're going to hopefully get this bill passed in the House, hopefully get it through the Senate, and hopefully get it in front of Joe Biden. He's already on record as wanting to reject this. But here's the clear contrast. He wants non-citizens to vote, which is something we always suspected when he let millions and millions of illegal immigrants into this country, get them addicted to government, get them registered to vote, and he's kind of following through on that plan.
Yeah, and it seems, a lot of people say, well, how are these illegals going to vote? If there's anything crooked that's going to happen in November, it's going to be some shady actors that use these names of illegals that they have. And this is what a lot of people are pointing to. They're saying that all they need is a name. That illegal citizen doesn't even necessarily need to vote. But if here in America, if we have the name of somebody who is here in this country and we're forced to provide voter registration information, in other words, we're forced to provide information to everyone who comes into this country, information on how to register to vote, which again seems so backwards to me. I mean, what the SAVE Act is actually doing is it's allowing common sense to come into play here, which is what we need more of. We need some basic common sense. You know, I can't go to France and vote for the president over there. I can't make decisions, and vote in local or national elections in other countries. And that seems right. I am an American citizen, so my vote should only count here in America. This is such great common sense. We applaud Chip Roy and Speaker Mike Johnson for the great work that they're doing, and especially to our AMAC members, because the tens of thousands of messages that are getting sent to members of Congress and others on how important it is to support the SAVE Act is really where it's at. We, the people, have to have a voice, and AMAC Action has done a great job giving our members a platform and a way for them to get involved. So that's really terrific. I'm hopeful that more awareness is going to help prevent some issues that we did see happen back in 2020. Hopefully those won't reoccur. Anything else you want to add on the election integrity front? Because, go ahead.
I'd be happy to, Rebecca. And it's also important to point out that there is documented evidence that non-citizens, illegal immigrants in this country have been registered to vote. So it's not a myth. The left is going to say this is not happening. It is, and we've got the receipts. So that said, our members have been very active since we last talked in some states throughout the country with regard to election integrity. Here's an example. In Virginia, our members flooded Governor Glenn Youngkin's office with nearly 800 messages telling him to veto a string of bad election integrity bills that were passed by the legislature there. And the governor responded by vetoing 16 out of 17 of the legislative actions. In Missouri, our members sent over 400 messages to their state senators and helped to pass a resolution that would ban ranked choice voting and ensures that only U.S. citizens can vote in their elections. And in Oklahoma, our members sent hundreds of messages to their state senators and played a pivotal role in passing legislation that bans ranked choice voting from the state's municipal and statewide elections. We're monitoring this legislation in states throughout the country. Reb, we're working in coalition with other great election integrity groups that bring these bills to our attention. We activate the membership, and AMAC members respond.
Yeah, that's so terrific. You know, I do want to remind people exactly what ranked choice voting is and how it works and why it's so dangerous. Explain a little bit how it works and why you think it's not the right way to go.
Well, ranked choice voting is complex, it's complicated, and it's completely unnecessary. I just want to start this off by saying that we at AMAC, and our members will back us up on this, have always believed in one person, one vote. Ranked choice voting changes all of that. It forces people to rank candidates, some of whom they never would have considered at all, and some of whom they know nothing about. So let's say you're giving a choice of 5 candidates. You rank them 1 through 5. If one candidate does not achieve 50% of the vote right off the bat, then the person with the second most votes, and your second place votes goes to whatever candidate is still left. And this process repeats itself. So what you have is a situation where ballots can be thrown out. If you don't rank, say you rank 4 out of 5, well, your ballot is thrown out. So ranked choice voting manufactures a majority by throwing out ballots and redistributing votes. It is bad news and it's unnecessary. Can you imagine being in a nursing home and you're given a ranked choice voting ballot and there's 10 candidates, 10 different offices you're voting for. So
you have to know 10. You've got to know the backgrounds of 10 different people to really be able to make a decision when you're ranking them. And then if it's easy to make a mistake, it's easy for errors to occur, and it doesn't seem to work here in America.
It makes vote tabulation a nightmare.
That's it.
You won't see results on election night, particularly about the redistribution of votes. So it's something that is completely unnecessary. And we've been on the record, and our members certainly don't want anything to do with it. Yeah.
Another thing our members want nothing to do with is the brainwashing, the indoctrination of our children in schools, especially is what we're seeing. AMAC members have spoken loud on this issue and have said, enough is enough. Leave our children alone. Stop stealing their innocence. and trying to cram your ideology down their throats. Just a few days ago, I watched a video of the leader of the NEA, the National Education Association. And, part of what she's fighting for is abortion access, which I don't see where that has any place in schools, or education on abortion as a choice. To me, that should be between a doctor and a patient, and certainly a family and their child or adolescent child, but not in a school system. She's fighting for, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that equality is at the heartbeat of America, but equity is hard to obtain. Equity meaning equal outcomes. We believe in a merit-based system. She is fighting for, of course, our teachers are great. I love to support our teachers, and I want to see our teachers earn more money. But it seems to me that in her speech, she's putting our children last. And then finally, rallying around, like almost obsessed with the LGBTQ plus community, which represents the minority, not the majority of our children in schools. So I worry about the unions. I worry about the teachers being forced to incorporate curriculum that goes against their own religious values. And I'm worried for parents and grandparents who have very little say in their child's education. Share with us what you're doing on the parental rights front.
Well, we've been very active in a couple of different states. Again, we're working in coalition with great organizations like the Alliance Defending Freedom. In Tennessee, we worked with the ADF, and our members lobbied the Tennessee legislature to help pass the Families' Rights and Responsibility Act. And what this bill does is establish clear parental rights, because they were very vague if they were mentioned at all in any Tennessee statute. And it also protects children. So this bill passed, and it was signed into law by the governor. So thanks to the help of AMAC members, you have a one-of-a-kind parental rights bill that is in Tennessee that actually, Rebecca, should be a model for the rest of the nation. But there is also very good news coming out of Louisiana. Again, a parental rights bill. And it's also a women's rights bill. It's a combination, because not only does this bill keep biological men and boys out of school restrooms, school changing areas, and school locker rooms, it extends this protection to battered women's shelters and prisons. These guys masquerading as girls are showing up everywhere. And Louisiana was one of the first states to add that caveat to include battered women's shelters and prisons. And you're seeing, and this is happening everywhere. You talk about the worry that you have, Rebecca, with regard to our children. That is with good reason, because we're seeing school systems indoctrinated with DEI and with this kind of stuff. But we're seeing states fight back, and AMAC members play pivotal roles, not only in Tennessee, but in also Louisiana, to pressure their legislatures to get these bills not only passed, but signed into law. Both the Tennessee and the Louisiana bills are now the law of the land in those states.
It's so important that our members do participate. And if you're listening and you see something going on in your state, reach out to AMAC at info@amac.us so that we can get on it, because we do care, and we want to be there on a very local level, on a grassroots level. We want to provide our members with the resources on how to get involved and step up and participate on a school board, and really what to look out for. We had a great guest join us at our recent boot camp for boomers. Her name was January Littlejohn. This is a woman whose story you need to learn about. For resources, I encourage people to go to Do No Harm. You can find them on the website. There's a lot of resources there. But Andy, this is a safety issue when we talk about grown men, strong, big, 17, 16, 15-year-old boys. They're almost men, if you want to call them young men, and
Sure.
they want the ability to go into a women's locker room. And then you've got a teacher or the school board that's saying, "Oh, we've got to allow this." I mean, that to me is just it's just common sense out the window altogether, out the door. And then girls in boys sports, boys and girls sports. It's funny, you don't really see the girls going into the boys sports.
No.
You see, you just see even the girls who may call themselves boys are sticking with the girls' sports because they know that they just are not going to have the physical strength to compete. But you do see a lot of these boys that are stealing opportunities for young women, and that is something that we know has to change. What do you think is up with Joe Biden and his mentality that we need to redefine what it means to be a woman or a man?
Reb, I think the far left is running the country, and I think the far left is running Joe Biden, and they are at will issuing their wildest fantasies about how they want to remake this country. That's why you saw what happened with Title IX. I don't think Joe Biden, and this is Andy speaking, has much awareness about anything. I think he's doing what he's being told to do by his handlers, and his handlers comprise the far left.
I think more and more people agree with you on that score. Andy, on the First Amendment, another major important issue, an area where AMAC is at the forefront, protecting your free speech is so important to all of us here at AMAC, your religious freedoms. This is what makes our country so great. On the First Amendment, our right to free speech, exercise of religion, I think average everyday conservatives feel that they are under attack, whether it's being censored on Facebook or Instagram. Thank God for Elon Musk, who's seemed to have opened up X and is, it's a platform for all to participate. But we see what happened to people who just don't go along with the left's ideology, and they're being punished. They're being punished. For example, the elderly grandmother who was praying outside of an abortion center and was, it looks like she, will be sentenced to a couple of years in prison. And she did not, cause bodily injury or harm to anyone. Rather, she was just pleading with these people to please reconsider, she says, exercising her First Amendment right. But again, it's under attack here in America. Share with us a little bit about what AMAC Action is doing on this forefront. Thank you.
You're welcome, Rebecca, and I'm happy to share that we have been involved where the infringement upon our religious freedom and our freedom of speech has made its way into corporate boardrooms, specifically banks, big banking. We've talked about debanking, what's happening to conservative organizations and conservative individuals by big banks like JP Morgan Chase. What they have done and what they've done in the past, they used a reputational risk score, and they add a social component to that reputational risk score. So let's say you wanted to, you are Rebecca Weber Incorporated, and you want to take out a loan with JP Morgan Chase. In the old days, they would look at your financials, say, look, does she pay her bills? Does she have any complaints with the Better Business Bureau? How does she treat her customers? Are there any liens against her? But now, organizations like JP Morgan Chase have added a social component where they would look at your social media, discover that you are in fact a Christian, discover the fact that you are conservative, and they construe that somehow as damaging to the bank's reputation, and they cut off services. They will stop your credit card processing and literally stop your cash flow. We got wind of this last year. And working with the Alliance Defending Freedom and the Free Enterprise Project, we launched a campaign from April through September of last year. And our members sent over 91,000 messages to key JP Morgan Chase executives in the C-suites, the CEO, the CFO, the chief legal counsel, and other folks, telling them, number one, stop doing this, but also, number two, to score themselves with the Alliance Defending Freedom's Viewpoint Business Diversity Index score, which is a measurement of a top company's tolerance for the First Amendment. We have fast forward to this year, and we have learned that JP Morgan Chase has, in fact, stopped using that aspect of the reputational risk score to debank people. And number two, they said that they are willing, it's been reported by the ADF, that they are willing to sit down with Alliance Defending Freedom lawyers to talk about viewpoint diversity. So our members played a huge role in getting the attention of the biggest bank in the world. And you take it a step further, Rep, in Tennessee again, we're going to go back to the volunteer state. Thanks in part to the lobbying efforts of AMAC Action, Tennessee now has a unique law that prevents large financial institutions from debanking conservatives. It's a one-of-a-kind state law that should be duplicated in states throughout the country. So you're protected if you live in Tennessee. Banks can't do this. It's the law of the land there. And AMAC Action, working with the Alliance Defending Freedom, lobbied the legislature to help get that done.
That's terrific. And this is exactly how our democracy should work. We, the people, need to understand that we do have some power in each state for more work to be done. We've got to elect people who understand, the Constitution as it was written. And these are the kinds of things that can happen. So there's so much hope when people do get together and people do recognize that there's a way that you can get involved to help save our country and to preserve our rights and our freedoms. No one should be attacked. It seems to me like the folks over at JP Morgan were not following their own set of rules when it comes to diversity. That's for sure. And we see that over and over again. Conservatives being shut up. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right, Rebecca. And I just wanted to mention with regard to JP Morgan Chase, this, if you're a conservative employee, some of this harassment might have been directed towards you, in addition to customer
no question.
base. So, they took notice, and there's more work to be done in this area. There's other large financial institutions that are doing this at will. So we've got more work to do on this, but we're happy to join the fight.
Well, that's terrific. Thanks for that update, Andy. A lot of other work happening on the First Amendment front. I know that we are doing, people should just check out amac.us and keep your eyes open for our calls to action that are coming into your email inbox. If you're not getting them, go to amac.us, sign up for our newsletter, log in. You can click all of the information that you want to receive from us, but we want to keep you updated. And you'll get information, news, things that are happening in your state, ways that you can attend webinars and participate. There's a lot people can do. Go to amac.us, make sure you log in and opt in to receive more information from us, because we only want to send it to you if you ask for it. We don't want to flood your inbox with more information if you're already getting it. Andy, before we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about how people can get involved, really rolling up their sleeves on the grassroots level. We have an incredible program that has been in place for now about 4 years. Over 300 people across the country are participating, but we're looking to 10 times that number. Tell us a little bit about how people can participate in a greater way in their state on both the local and national level.
Well, we're always looking for our members to take advantage of AMAC Action's advocacy platforms. And one of those platforms is actually becoming an AMAC delegate. And AMAC delegates are volunteer advocates that call on their member of Congress as constituents first and an AMAC member second. And they echo the concerns of the membership at large and the work that we do in Washington, D.C. It's very rewarding. And as you mentioned, we're managing about 300 of these delegates. We are constantly recruiting. It's a wonderful way to get involved. We will train you. We'll show you how to conduct a meeting. We'll show you how to conduct a meeting with a representative. We'll show you how to conduct a chapter meeting if you're interested in getting together with other like-minded individuals who are AMAC members and bringing in people to speak to them, like candidates and elected officials on the local, state, and federal level. And there's so much that you can do, and we fully support you in this endeavor. And we're always looking for people because we're hearing from our members, how can I get involved? This is one way to get involved, and it's a very satisfying way to do so.
That's terrific. In the coming weeks, we will be expanding including this information in multiple areas on amac.us. But for easy access to fill out the form, to learn more, to speak with Andy or anyone over at AMAC Action, our great team of people, simply go to amacaction.org, and fill out the online form right there. We'll call you up and we can have a conversation to see if this is something that's right for you. Andy Mangione, what incredible work you've done throughout 2024 so far. A lot more work to be done between now and the end of the year, but looks like we are more than exceeding the goals that we put in place to really have an impact. And I'm so proud of our members who have participated. Andy, thank you so much for the update and for being with me today.
Thank you, Rebecca. My pleasure.
And to all of you out there listening, thank you so much. Be sure to join or renew with AMAC. Go to amac.us. We've got some specials there. They'll be running out soon. Check it out. Thank you again for joining me today. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.